Hi everyone, welcome into My Chamber TV, the heartbeat of the Tampa Bay community. I'm Barbara Marville Kelly and we are airing from WeBeam TV and we hope you enjoy the show today. We have a new little twist to our chamber show today and I'm going to let my co-host Clara Rose talk about it. The savvy business builders, and then we're going to introduce Jeremiah, who is going to be talking about his office that he's running for coming up here soon. So I want to thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And Clara Rose, this is a new venture for us here on My Chamber TV.
It's actually not a new venture in its entirety. Savvy Business Builders has been around for a few years. I created it probably 4 or 5 years ago. And the idea was to create a resource for believers in business. That was the vision that kind of God birthed in my head, was this resource for believers. So, as you know, last year I was the CEO of the Christian Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
So I kind of put that on the burner for a bit and went and worked with the chamber. Now they're board run and aren't using a CEO anymore. But it was a great experience. I learned a lot, and it really gave me a different perspective on what I wanted for Savvy Business Builders. So I'm bringing it back out and dusting it off, and Savvy Business Builders is a virtual chamber.
I love this.
It's a virtual chamber for the virtual world that we live in, but it's for believers in business. So it's a place where we'll have an online directory, a place where for believers to connect, believers in business specifically, to connect with each other and get educational things, which is always at the heart of everything I do, trying to educate people, giving them tips, tricks, tools, techniques, things to help them in their business.
And are you finding that this is going to be really helpful for believers in business due to the fact that they can do this online and make it really time effective for them? Because we've talked about many times before that time is our most valuable commodity. And I noticed that it's being chipped away more and more, time and time again. And you have quite a background with online, I think just about everything, right?
I've done a lot of stuff online. And of course, I'm co-founder of Rosedale Communications, which is a company that has an online product. We help people to create their book to use as a tool in their business or their ministry. So we do a lot online, and I have been connected online for a really long time. I'm totally a tool geek, tool nerd, if you will. So if there's a tool that can make my job easier or better, I'm all over it. And using the internet is where it's at now.
Yes.
So
and
sense.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because I, as a baby boomer, and I say it all the time, that I've been resistant, but I have no choice, and neither do you have any choice if you're in business.
That's right.
I mean, it changes on a regular basis.
It does.
And when it comes to the virtual chamber, I think everybody's going to have everything right at their fingertips. Really save a lot of time. Save a lot of time, and that's a big deal. However, I do want to go ahead and introduce our guest, who also relied a little bit on print work, which is still
out there
needed today, because you can hand these out. And I was just admiring Jeremiah Hawk's card, because he is running for Pasco County Court Judge. And I'm excited to introduce him today because he's with the Pasco Sheriff right now as an in-house attorney, and it's just a delight to have you on board. So tell us how this excitement that you're going through here.
So, like you said, I work right now for Sheriff Naco. I'm one of his in-house attorneys. They call me a bureau chief, so what I do is I oversee the budget and the finance areas as well as the legal area. As part of that, I do labor negotiations, I do contract reviews, I've done appeals, mediations. So it's a very interesting mix. You would think working for the sheriff you would do all criminal stuff, but in reality is, if you think about it, the sheriff has 1,300 employees almost. He has a fleet of hundreds of cars. There's a lot of car accidents. There's a lot of employment law stuff to deal with. And so we get to deal with a wide diversity of areas in the law. Previously I was a prosecutor, so I did criminal jury trials and prosecuted for 5.5 years. And then I worked for the Florida House of Representatives as the general counsel there, and I helped draft legislation. I testified before legislative committees, and I represented the legislature before the Florida Supreme Court, and did an argument before the Florida Supreme Court, which was a fun experience. But now I'm running for the county court. That's something that everybody in Pasco votes on. It is an election. A lot of people think all judges are appointed, but in Florida, trial court judges are actually elected. The county court is the court that hears cases, civil cases up to $15,000. Also misdemeanors, which in Florida, misdemeanors are crime punishable by less than a year in jail. Ordinance violations go to county court. Traffic tickets go to county court. Evictions are handled by the county court. The county court is the court closest to the people, is what they say. A lot of people come to county court, and because these are smaller dollar figures that are at risk or smaller amounts of jail, a lot of the people who come before the court are pro se. And so it's, as the judge, you've got to kind of be able to deal with the public a little bit more than you might have to in the circuit court or the appellate court.
And listen to them speak like normal people.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that you saying?
I think that's one of the most important things about the court is I think people need to feel like they've been heard, because you want to do two things as a judge. One, you want people to feel like they got justice and the right decision was made, and two, you want to make the right decision, and those aren't exactly the same thing. If somebody comes into court and you just rule on their case without them having an opportunity to speak, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. They're not going to feel like they got justice.
Right.
Absolutely.
They're not going to
Not heard.
perceive that they had an opportunity to be heard. And if they don't perceive that they had an opportunity to be heard, then it doesn't matter if your decision is legally correct or not. They're not going to feel like that they had their day in court.
And how would you feel about that?
If I wasn't heard, I would be upset. Yeah.
Exactly. And then on the part of the judge, making the decision to hear them out, and that's different than, that wouldn't be protocol for everyone. There are judges that do it this way that you're explaining.
Well, I mean, I do feel like, in the past, and I'm not going to get
Name
too
any
specific.
names.
No, we don't want to name any names.
Let's not make
But
But we do want you to vote for Jeremiah, okay?
Yeah, we're going to name that. I do feel like there's been times where I've gone into a court and it does seem like the judge had their mind made up before you even started talking. And I think that's, that's unfortunate. The attorneys have prepared really hard to be in court. And like I said, the members of the public, for the judge, it might be a routine thing. It might be something that the judge deals with all the time. And the judge may know what needs to be done in that case. But for the person who's there that day, this is a unique experience for them. They're not coming into court all the time. And so I think it's important for the judge to be mindful of that. And I think it's important for the judge to hear them out.
I'm voting for him.
I'm just
right?
thinking, I love him. I'm voting for him.
I'm voting for him.
I am definitely voting for
Yeah.
you just by what you
Yeah.
are coming from your heart.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, the other thing I think that's important for judges is I think judges need to follow the law. Even if a judge doesn't like the law, they need to apply the law as it's written and not go outside of the law. So, judges aren't there to do what they think is best. They're there to apply the law. And so even if the legislature has done something that the judge doesn't like, the judge needs to follow the law. The legislature makes the law. The governor applies, executes the law, and the executive branch executes the law. The judge needs to follow the law, and whether that's what the law that the judge would have made or not.
I'm hearing like something like maybe not all judges do their job like.
They're not all created equal.
I'm trying to say that. I'm trying to get that out.
Some judges suck. Is that what you're saying? Right?
Well,
Oh, Claire.
I don't want to. I'm not.
Oh
here,
no, that's for the unscripted show. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not here to criticize other judges. I'm just here to talk about what I would do as a judge if I'm given that honor of getting to serve.
Right. But I mean, with all joking and kidding aside, I mean, that's where we come in and say, that's politics for you. That's politics for you at times, and I love what you're saying too, because you're right. When somebody comes in and this is a whole new thing for them, they don't know any different. So to have somebody like yourself to really come from the heart and give them that mutual respect instead of sitting up high on the pedestal, and you know what I'm trying to say. So
we all want to be heard. Right?
Absolutely.
We all want to have our voice heard.
Absolutely. You're going to do well. You're going to win.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling.
So once you win, because we're going to roll that way.
That's
once you
right.
win, how long do you serve?
So a judicial term is 6 years. So it would
that's a
start.
commitment.
It would
Yeah.
start. It would start next January, and it would go 6 years. Yeah, it is. It is quite a commitment, and so that's the longest elected office term in the state for a Florida state office.
Wow.
And so they do, but you want stability in your judges. You don't want,
Yes.
and the more often, you want judges to stand for election because you want them to be accountable, but you don't want judges to constantly be running for office. You want judges to
Be judging.
to be judging. Yes, doing the work.
To be working in
And
the
then
courts,
can
sure.
you get revoted back in?
Yes, there is no term limits for judges. The only limitation is that when a judge reaches the age of 70, they need to step down. So you can't go past 70. It's the only government job in Florida with mandatory retirement.
Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting.
Well, we only have 30 seconds, but I'm sold. I have a
Yeah,
feeling you're
absolutely.
going to be in that seat.
Where can they learn more about you?
So if they go to my Facebook page, it's facebook.com/HawksForJudge. Please go to it. You can learn more about me, learn more about my family and my background. Please like and follow the page and share it with your friends and invite your friends to like it. That you can learn more about what I'm doing and where I'm going and follow on campaign events.
Very, very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank
Especially
you.
for putting up with the two of us here.
Oh, no, it's no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
We'll
our
see you
pleasure.
again.
Yes.
And we'll be right back with more guests here on My Chamber TV.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back into My Chamber TV, right here from WeBeam TV studio. What were you doing? You got caught, didn't you?
I was.
Texting. See, the digital age, right? Texting.
I was texting
But it was for
WeBeam
your-
TV.
Exactly, for
to
your
say,
son, because he
yeah,
wanted to see the show, right? Well, I'm Barbara Marville Kelly, and with me is Clara Rose, and we are featuring Savvy Business Builder here, right on My Chamber TV. And we are bringing our next guest on, beautiful Larnelle Scott, and she's with the community outreach. She's a community outreach coordinator with Guardian Ed Litem program. Congratulations. That's quite an honor to be involved. Tell us about
It really is. Well, the Guardian Ad Litem is a state agency for the state of Florida, and we utilize citizens to advocate for children who find themselves in the foster care system.
Okay, okay. And how long have you been involved with this?
A little over 3 years now.
Really? How did you get involved?
Well, prior to this, I was working at a high school for at-risk students and tapped into a passion that I didn't know I had, and that was to advocate for children who find themselves in risky situations. And so that was in Hillsborough County, though, and I lived in Pasco.
Excuse me.
And bless you. And at that time, gas was very, very high, and this opportunity came about, and I live in Pasco, and it was still really even more involved with the at-risk child, so it was a natural progression.
Oh, that's really wonderful. I don't think we can have enough people like yourself out there in today's world. We were just talking about the crazy digital age and the disconnect and the desensitization and all that. How does that program work actually?
Well, what happens is when the state steps in to take legal guardianship of a child or children because it's no longer safe for them to remain in the guardianship of their parents, at that point, the guardian ad litem is appointed. Now, they do get a social worker, and they are placed either in a foster home or at another location, but we are the only legal party to the case that has one objective, and that is the best interest of the child. We make sure the court orders are carried out. We make sure the child is treated fairly, that they're getting what they need, that they do well in school, and that they get a permanent home.
That's beautiful. I had a friend that wanted my credentials for her, and this was a number of years ago, and when she was telling me about it, I was quite fascinated. So I'm guessing that there's quite a need today.
Absolutely. The latest statistics at the end of 2017, there were 1,047 children in Pasco County alone in the foster care system.
How many?
1,047, and it's likely to be higher today. I just don't have the latest stats. They haven't come out yet. But December 31st, 2017, and we only had enough volunteers to cover 488 of those children. And we don't have 488 volunteers. The way we cover them is...
That was my question. What are you doing about this? I see a problem.
Yes, some of our volunteers will take more than one case. If there is a sibling group, then all three siblings go on one case. So if you have that case, you're technically taking care of three children. And then we do have attorneys that have private practices in other areas of law that on a pro bono basis, they will take a case as a guardian ad litem volunteer. So that's why there are people like myself throughout the state. It's not just a Pasco County problem. Throughout the state, all we do full time is talk about the program, interview, give presentations, run sessions, interview people who actually come forth and say, yes, I want to do it, because it is a little bit of a process. You don't just say, hey, I want to do it, and you go right on and do it.
There's training involved.
There's training. There's quite a bit of screening going on.
I would imagine.
Yeah, because we're allowing our volunteers access to the most vulnerable children in the county. So we have to do our best to vet out. I know it's hard to believe that there are some people who might want to volunteer in this capacity for less than honorable intentions.
Of course.
Yeah.
We live in a fallen and broken world.
You know,
Right,
that's
that
really
sum
the
it
long
up?
and the short of it, but angels like this young lady coming along and putting her time in and really educating people so that they know that this program is available. How long is the training program and the screening program for someone?
Well, what happens is the first requirement is that you attend one of our information sessions, and I hold them weekly on Tuesdays, one at 10:30 and one at 6 p.m. in our Newport Richey office. And then throughout the month, I'm at the Land O'Lakes Library and the Dade City Library, If there are community or civic organizations who have meetings, I often go there and hold the session and speak to the group at large. But that's the first required step. So I can go in detail about the program. People can ask all the questions they want to ask and come in with their eyes wide open to fully understand the responsibility. If a person feels like, yes, I think I want to do that, the second step is an application. They do have to complete an application. We run a very high-level background check initially to be sure there isn't anything currently or recently going on with you that would prevent me from interviewing the individual. If that looks good, then there's an interview, and I sit one-on-one, and I ask a lot of questions, some more personal than others, but it's about a 2-hour process that we sit and talk. I have to kind of get to know you and know all about you all the way back from when you were born. And then if there aren't any red flags, then we enroll them in training, and it's an 18-hour classroom training. The total training is 30 hours, but there are some individual online study and some other court watches and things like that that a person does outside of the classroom.
Now, is there any limitations for someone that wants to get involved with this if they have children at home already?
No, actually, that's one of the strengths of our program. We have citizens from all walks of life. About half of our volunteer base work full-time. And so we have moms, we have retired people, we have entrepreneurs, we have some attorneys, we have accountants, we have everyone. And what is so special about that is they come in and they don't have the social services shaped head. Those of us in the industry, we've been trained for that, and we kind of have a social services shaped head, but our volunteers don't. So oftentimes they come up with solutions and recommendations that we might not have thought of because we're totally thinking social services. And they'll say, well, why can't we do this and recommend that? And we'll say, well, why not? Let's take it to court, see what the judge says.
Oh, so you're very open.
Absolutely,
very open with that.
because
That's
the
wonderful.
child's best interest is our only interest. That's one of our mottos. The other is, I am for the child. And so we are the only legal party to the case that has one objective and one objective only, and that is the child's best interest.
That's wonderful. So is it a matter of speaking to more groups? What is it to get you more up to par for what you need for these missing kids and the program?
Well, it's all of the above. A big part of it is awareness. My personal goal, I call it the Kleenex Project. I want the term guardian at Litem to be as common of a household term as Kleenex. If I said, would you hand me a Kleenex, you would hand me a
Tissue.
A tissue, absolutely. It may not be Kleenex brand, but it would be a tissue.
We know what you want.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And so that's what I want the term guardian ad litem to be in Pasco County, that common. So a lot of it is that. A lot of it is relationship building, because I've gotten a lot of invites because I've spoken somewhere or been at a networking session and that kind of thing, and received donations. Sometimes people or organizations can't actually volunteer, but we have a foundation, a nonprofit organization that all they do is fundraise to help us fill in the gaps for our kids.
Wonderful.
Because once a child is placed in foster care or with grandma or wherever the state places them, they do pay that person room and board to take care of the child. But beyond that, there's not much money's budgeted. And so this foundation, they help fund normalcy activities. Our children, I call them our children, they want to play football and take gymnastics and swimming lessons and go to summer camp and need tutoring also.
Sure.
And this foundation will actually fund those activities for our children while they're in the system.
And how can our viewers participate in that foundation? How can they get a hold of you, or is there a link that they can look up?
All of the above. My phone number is 727-834-3493. That's 727-834-3493. Our website is www.herotoachild.org. That's herotoachild.org. And from there, you can see our calendar of events, all of the information sessions. You can see how to donate. If you choose to donate, you can donate from online, and all of the information that you ever wanted to know about the program.
Oh, that's so fabulous. 3 years experience with this. I commend you. I really commend you. And it's angels like yourself that will help pick us up and just keep lifting us up. Anything we can do for you here on My Chamber TV or the studio, please let us know. And maybe you would like to come and speak at our groups. We do have networking groups here. Clara, what do you think? She's awesome.
Wow. I'm it's interesting how little we know
I
about a
know.
topic until we speak to somebody who knows about a topic, right?
I know, exactly. Well, I knew just a little bit of it. I didn't know how in-depth this was, and it's not something that just anybody can, hey, say, sign me up. You do have to go through this very strict screening program.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, think about it. If you are someone that wants to help support a child in need, you too could be a hero. All you have to do is get a hold of Larnelle. And I think it's just a wonderful way to connect with the community, because there are so many children that's brought into the world, and for whatever reason, without putting blame,
Absolutely.
life happens.
Absolutely.
Life happens, and it can happen to any one of us. I'm sorry to say, I know that there's children living in the woods not far from our community. And
Yeah.
it just breaks my heart when I think of that.
They're all over. I tell people it doesn't matter what community you live in.
That's right.
The children are there that need your help.
Yes.
They're in every community throughout the county.
Exactly. And when you put your head on your pillow at night, I bet you're feeling very good at the work that you're doing.
Absolutely. And the real angels are the volunteers, the
Yes.
people who give of their time and sacrifice their time.
Yes.
And I would like to mention, it really takes an average of 8 to 10 hours a month.
That's all.
So that's not a big investment of time. If you have one case over a 12-month period, it averages out to about 8 to 10 hours a month.
So I have a question. Let's say the state awards a child to a grandparent, an aunt or an uncle or whatever, or both, but the guardian ad litem participates in those hours aside from them living somewhere else, or can they live with the guardian ad litem?
No, they don't live with the guardian
Okay,
ad litem.
that's what I wanted to know.
We go visit them. We make sure where they're living is still appropriate, that they're
Okay.
being cared for properly,
Okay.
getting what they need, but the child does not stay or remain or live with or reside with the guardian ad litem,
Okay, so-
as a foster parent does. That's
So
foster.
this is more or less bringing total balance, making sure that they're getting the training that you've provided for the guardian ad litem that is applied and been approved for. So they're picking that part up and doing their part from 8 to 10 hours a month.
A month.
A month. Only 45 seconds. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll have to have you back, Larnelle. And good luck to you.
Thank you. I thank you for the invitation. As much as we can get it out there, that's a big help.
Absolutely. And real quickly, your phone number?
727-834-3493. 727-834-3493.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank
We're going to
you.
be right back. We have a couple of life coaches coming up, and we're going to be talking to them along with my wonderful partner here, Clara Rose. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
Hi everyone, welcome back into My Chamber TV. I'm Barbara Marville Kelly, and with me is Clara Rose. And we now have 2 other guests that are going to be remaining with us for the last half hour of the show. We have Laura White and Tresa, is it Lugten or Lugten?
Lugten.
Lugten, okay. I can't wait to hear you talk a little bit more with that Texas accent. I love it, I love it.
Everybody loves her voice.
I know. So both of you ladies are certified life coaches, and from what Clara was telling me is that you're joining ventures here. So I'm just going to turn the show over to you two, and you pipe right in there as well.
Okay.
They're both so lovely, aren't they? Gosh.
So I know them both independently, but then I saw them do a Facebook Live thing together, and I'm like, oh, you guys need to be on my show.
Oh, I want to hear more about this. What are you doing on Facebook Live? I want to hear all about it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I just moved here from Texas 6 months ago, so I'm loving Florida, loving all these palm trees and just the beaches, and love everything about it. Except I have to admit, I am a little insecure with this accent.
Oh, I love it.
Because everyone goes, oh,
That's going to open doors for you.
But see, they say that, but we're all like, can you talk more, please?
Yeah. I know. I love it. But anyway, so I am a speaker and life coach, and so when I got here, I found Laura, and we just hit it off immediately. And so we decided, hey, we got to do some things together. So we just jumped in and started doing some things together.
Started connecting, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is the future here. You know, doing some workshops and conferences, retreats. We're open.
Yes.
So what was I want to know what the connection was. What was it that told the two of you, okay, we have to do something together?
All right, I'll let you go first.
I know there's something really great coming here.
One thing I'd have to say is our personality. You know,
I don't know. I think you might need a little help with that. What do you think, Claire?
So precursor, believers in business, just saying.
That's right. Oh, you think maybe that might be a connection?
Right.
Yes,
definitely.
yes. We sat down at lunch one day, and I don't know, we were just like back and forth. It was like we had known each other forever.
For a long time.
We just connected, and we had the same heart. We have the same passion to help women, to speak into their lives. We have a little bit of the same background. So we just instantly connected.
And we love to really take this to really inspire, equip, and empower women in all areas of their life. And so when we said, oh, this is what I'm doing, relationships, and then she's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing families. And so that's how we connected. It's like, oh my gosh, we need to get together. And then we just started doing live videos, and everybody kept saying, oh my gosh, you guys do great. You know, it felt like we're like, instead of the view, we're the two. You know?
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I know. Instead of the two. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it's so funny because every time we talk, it's like I'll finish, and then she'll pick up, and then she'll stop, and it's like it just flows. It's like
that's
it's
so
just
great.
So awesome.
I have to say what an answer to prayer, because when you move, I left everything of comfort behind. I mean, my friends, my church, you know.
Yes.
So in my journal, top of that top line is for some godly women to come into my life and some friendships. And so she was definitely an answer to prayer. Even I had friends in Texas praying with me. I needed some godly friends and somebody that I wanted to do ministry with and do life with. And so so thankful he sent me Laura White.
That is, I love to hear stories like this. You know, I knew there was a connection, and then of course, believers in business.
Yes.
Believers in
Yes.
business. See?
Yes. Yeah, it's one of the things we talk about is faith, and we're always incorporating God into scripture or something. So it just, like I said, it just meshed together, and we just worked together. And the topic, they're like, oh my gosh, I want to talk about that. Oh, I want to talk about that. And so with some of our backgrounds and our experiences, we feed off of each other.
Right.
You know?
What is your background and experiences as separate life coaches, and how you've been out there empowering women?
Yes, for over 10 years, I've been empowering women to find a place of restoration and freedom. And then also help women to succeed in all areas of their life, whether it be their relationship with their husband, their child, relationship with God. But a lot of women, they're just maybe low self-esteem. They might, I have people that come to me that own their own business, doctors, nurses, but they're just, something's just not right.
Lost.
And then I'm just like, oh, good, you know? Good, you know?
Just got this little evil hand thing going.
It's so funny is because I have women, I hope this is okay to say, but I have women that come to me and they're saying, I'm done with my marriage. I want to work on me. I'm like, okay, but inside I'm like, oh, good, because I know that God can restore their marriage, and so I'll work on them for a little bit, incorporate the marriage, and people have come to me and say, oh my gosh, the marriage, and it's not me, it's the Holy Spirit that helps me.
Absolutely.
But it's amazing because their marriages are restored, but they came to me and say, I'm done. I'm like, oh, you have no idea what God can do,
That's right.
inside. But then I'll start talking and sharing. So it's
so
amazing.
I love to hear that.
I love it.
Because sometimes people give up when
they do.
when they could. You're right. Restore their marriage.
Right.
So that's wonderful. How about you?
Well, I began speaking and teaching about 12 years ago. Started out teaching a Bible study, and that just grew, and then I started going, teaching at seminars or conferences, retreats. I love all of that. And so when I came here, of course, I'm starting all over. And God just began to plant this vision in me for an organization that I founded called Living Graceful. And I'm calling it the 7 F's that I'm talking about: faith, family, friendships, fitness, finances, fashion, and fun. All of the things that are near and dear to women, I believe.
Definitely.
And so that's my heart, as to just begin to talk about those things. So that's what I started doing, is just talking about all of those things and letting it develop. And so it just began to grow and develop on the inside of me. And of course, Laura came along and she had the same heart. So that is really where my passion is.
And that's what it is. You said the key word right there. We know when we're tapping into our passion, and the Holy Spirit will wake us up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, or driving along, giving you just a clue, and then maybe another time you'll have that big, huge aha moment, and you go, I got it. Let's go for it. And that's what you guys are doing.
And that was the thing, because I was ready to, I've been speaking, and I do private coaching, group coaching. And then when she came along, like, oh, retreat, conference, oh, I'm on board. Let's do it. Because God had just started saying, okay, I'm ready, for this. So, because I've been doing the whole private group coaching for a while, and some speaking, but this is like, oh my gosh, this is an answer to prayer for me too. Because, to come together, more, better, powerful. Watch out, women, here we come.
That's right. You guys are truly
not the
committed. Absolutely. I love it.
Well, there's a power that happens when somebody like-minded walks with you in something.
Absolutely.
I absolutely had that with my business partner, Christy, in our business. There's two of us like-minded, headed in the same direction, and a synergy happens.
Yes.
And you can come together, and one of you starts an idea and the other one builds on it, which sparks something in the other one, and it just becomes this, God does this magic thing.
Yes.
It's so
It's very
exciting.
cool.
I'm going to ask you something. This is kind of a loaded question, because a number of years ago, this was a long time ago, there's been life coaches around for a while. Do you ever hear that it's just over in abundance? Because I don't feel that way. I feel that you can never have too many life coaches, especially be believers in business, as I am, as Claire is, as you are. And it just seems like when you are a believer in business and you combine that with what your passion is and your life coaching skill sets, it's a win-win 100% all around. But there's gazillions of life coaches. So
It seems like there are a lot of them out there.
There is.
there are. There are.
Yeah, my business partner Christy is also a certified life coach.
There you
Life
go.
and recovery coach. But you know what? Those skills do many different things.
They do.
Right?
They do.
So in our practice, those skills make her an amazing partner to write with. Right? She has the ability to, peel back the layers, the onion kind of, to get to the core of the story. And that's totally a life coach skill set, right? So you can do many things with that. I think they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes and colors.
That's exactly what I was looking for, because I am a total believer, speaking of believers, in that there's no competition.
No.
Absolutely.
There is no competition, and the reason why I say that is it hit me one day when I attended another women's group called the Amazing Women down in Safety Harbor, and it really connected with me because the way she said it was so true. Because nobody can do what you do like you do.
The way you do it.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
And the same with each and every one of us, because God made us one of the same in a sense, but we all have our own personalities, our own passions, our own driving forces. And when more than one is gathered in prayer and in that believer state,
Yes.
there's just that unexplainable synergy that just happens. It's, call it magic, call it whatever you like. I call it a miracle.
Right.
I really call it a miracle when people can meld their skill sets together and go out and make something work in the community, because God only knows, we all know that our world has some serious challenges right now.
Yes.
So I feel that we are all like pockets in different places of the world coming together as one, and as long as we're getting the same job done in being that inspirer, being that motivator, being that connector, and using Tampa Bay Multimedia, our production company here on WeBeam TV, to get this message out to you. And that's what I'm here for, to bring you all together and really have a lot of fun with it. So I commend you guys, I do.
Thank you.
Tell me what you have coming up.
Well, I would love to. I would love to just say something to your question a while ago. I think this is where my passion comes from. I came from a long line of alcohol in my family and drug abuse, and so that left me with a lot, growing into a young woman, with a lot of emotional junk. I was actually a compulsive liar. I was so full of fear. I just had all anxiety. And I was just reading 2 days ago, there are 40 million women struggling in the U.S. with anxiety disorder of some kind. And, this is our time. This is supposed to be our time of empowering women. And this is and you can't step into your season if you are full of anxiety and full of fear.
Right.
And I am about seeing women be free from those things. And I know that God can do it. He did it for me. And so that's what I want to sow into every woman I meet. And you can go to an Empowering Women conference every weekend right now, because there's just...
They're all over.
They're all over the place. But you can go from one conference to another conference to another conference. But if you are not getting set free from that anxiety and that fear, and that's my heart. I know how to walk a woman through that, because I've been through, God's walked me through those things, and I know we can be free. So that's what our workshop's about. Those are what our conferences are about, is not just giving a powerful speech and inspiring, because that's the starting point, but then to follow it up with that life coaching and say, okay, here's where you're going to start right here, but you were going to come out on the other end of this and be free, and then set that woman free to go. She's truly empowered to go do what God's called her to do.
I love this. I love it, because then you're there for them afterwards for the support.
Absolutely.
Right.
What do you have to say to that?
And I have, I'm the same way. I have a program that I put together. It's 8 weeks, and it takes people through of that whole restoring, setting them free, have that hope and that peace. And that's all about forgiving. What are the lies that they're believing? What are the generations that are, attacking them, the patterns that keep going through generations? And so I walk these women through, because I want every woman to come into the power and come into the walking that God has for their life.
Hold that point. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have more juicy stuff. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
Oh my goodness, welcome back into My Chamber TV. I'm Barbara Marville Kelly, and with me is Clara Rose. And these two lovely ladies here are Laura White and Tresa Lugten, talking about giving back to the community and women. And I'm going to just turn this back over to you girls, because you had a point to make that you were making before we took a break.
Yes, if I can remember. Because we talked so much during the break. But basically, life coaches end up going into their field of what they've come through. Mm-hmm. And so I love helping people in their relationship. For one thing, is because I've been married 32 years. I know the do's and the don'ts, and I had a teenager that was strong-willed, and so I help parents help communicate with their teenager. But even through the restoration, I was brought up in a dad that was an alcoholic, and so I love helping people to overcome, because you tend to be fear and anxious and all that, and I want to help people become free, have hope that they can get through anything with God's help. So.
There's a lot to be said for that, because we were all mutually talking about our experiences. Mm-hmm. And when you come through that, mm-hmm. it's such a joy and such a blessing, and it's such a feel-good feeling that you want to reach out.
Yes, that is the key.
That's your passion. When you have that, then it just comes naturally. Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you, I've been through that. Yes. I've done that.
Yes.
Bought the t-shirt.
Exactly.
It equips you. It equips you to help people.
Absolutely.
Because of what you've come through yourself.
Absolutely.
Right. And I'm sure that each of you have different approaches.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But yet you're still going down the same journey for the reaching that destination.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's great. What do you have coming up?
We have
another loaded question.
We have first of all, we have a workshop. Some workshops coming up.
Yes.
We do not have dates. We're working on it. We really wanted to get some dates pinned down before today.
That's
but
okay.
We don't.
That's okay.
So, but you can find us both on our Facebook pages. Mine is Living Graceful Tresa Lugten.
And mine is Life Coach Laura White. And then I have a personal page and a business page, Life Coach Laura White. So you can find us on there. We plan on doing a workshop in about 2 months, but our goal is a retreat for women, conferences, and workshops to empower women to have that freedom, restore. Like I said, we're going to be doing some fashion. We're going to be doing some health. I'm also a certified natural health professional. I'm also a board-certified master Christian life coach, and also I'm certified in church leadership and as a pastor. So
Wonderful.
I've got that background that we can incorporate in all this. So she's got other certificates, and then we're putting them together and using them for the glory of God.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, we're super excited. Again, I love to just talk about statistics. I was just reading 2 days ago. I was reading several statistics. Over 80% of women are struggling with insecurity. Some to the point that it was saying that they will cancel interviews, they will cancel dates, they will not show up to a big event that they had planned on going to because of that insecurity, and that breaks my heart. And that's what I want to see women free of. And so it's just exciting. My passion in my heart is to see one woman at a time just be free from those things, walk out of that, feel good about herself so that she can go to that event. And that's what God wants. And I think my approach is the Word of God is powerful. It's true. And that's the spiritual part of it. But there is a natural part as well. And the natural part of you can buy a book at any bookstore right now. What are they? The 7 Habits of Successful
Right.
Men and Women. And they're true. You have to have the right mindset. You have to have the right action, take the right actions and the right habits. All of those things are true. And that's what the world is teaching. And then we have, if you're at a really powerful church, then they're teaching that you could be. But when you combine those two things and teach women how to put those two things together and walk it out, we can, and that's what I want to say. I don't want any woman to miss this season in her life when we are to be empowered. I want them to find their dreams, their passion, and know that that's what they were born for, to walk it out, do it, not to be sitting back and letting life pass you by.
No, they're missing out on so much, and to know who they are in Christ, and then you can conquer so much more.
Oh.
You know, because God wants, I feel like this is God standing going, I want to give it all to you. But so many people are, I don't want to use the word stuck, but you know, it's just, I want them to be empowered. I want them to be the overcomers. I want them to achieve and come into the calling that God has on their life.
Well, and it's raising the awareness to these women
Yes.
too, because if they have that lack of self-confidence and possibly even their core values, and they evaluate themselves and they don't come out on top with themselves, it's like helping them just kind of get out of their own way.
Yes, giving them hope.
Yes.
Hope.
Yes.
Yes.
Hope is the key.
Yeah,
It-
that
it
there
is.
is hope.
There, yes,
Yeah.
there is.
Sometimes-
For any woman struggling with anything, there's
Anything.
there
Yes.
is.
Yes.
There
And
is.
sometimes they don't even know, even if we get more biblical too, is what I find out is the women, you know, they read the word, but it's just not alive to them. And when I bring them the scriptures and say, listen, this is what God has. The power of prayer is everything in your marriage, everything with your kids. And when they find out that empowerment and those words that mean everything, then they're like, wow, I didn't know that. Or, oh yes, and God can speak to you.
It's clicking.
Yes.
It clicks
They're
with them.
aware and they're clicking and they're now like, wow, I didn't know that. I mean, like, you know, give them the tools, the techniques of what God has to offer for them. But sometimes they just don't either open the word, they don't dig, but I'm like, well, let me help you.
That's so
Or they just
fabulous.
don't know.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. It's time to almost close the
Is
show
it time
here.
to discuss? Okay, I have to put
Oh
them
my
on.
gosh,
I have to
no.
put them on the spot. Do I have time?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I happen to know that both of you
2
have
minutes.
a book coming out.
Yes.
When might we expect to see those?
I'm hoping mine by the end of the year.
By the end
I
of the
really
year.
am.
I'm hoping mine I would love to see it in like 60 days.
In 60 days. Okay.
You go, girl.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. 6 months.
Okay, so once the books are out,
Yes.
we'll have you back on the show.
Love to.
How's that?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Have them on Women Unscripted.
Yeah.
That would
Thank
be
you for
really
having
great.
us.
Yes,
It was
thank
fun.
you so much for having
Oh,
us.
thank you for joining us. And we're going to go ahead and say our goodbyes for today, but you'll be able to continually watch the shows. In the meantime, we have 1 minute remaining. We have 30 seconds. How quickly can
Okay,
each of
my
you
phone
say?
number is 813-924-4440. Life Coach Laura White.
Tresa Lugten, Living Graceful. Tresa Lugten. You can find me on Facebook. And my phone number is 903-920-5771. 903-920-5771. We would love to come and speak at your conference, your seminar, or find us and come to the
Give
one
us
we're
a
doing.
call. We'd love to.
That's so great. You guys are awesome. And so are you, my friend. I have to close the show, and we'll see you next Wednesday for My Chamber TV. That will be West Pasco Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for joining us today.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.